Welcome to video 3 on the obelisk and its association with the center of creation, the center of the flat earth, and the center of the zodiac sign. Now this is part 3, so there is 2 others, so you might want to go back and start from number 1 first, otherwise you mightn't catch on to what I'm getting at here. So we'll carry on. There's a lot of pretty pictures here for you. Now this all started from the, got me thinking, thanks to the full or the lunar eclipse on the 26th of March, what was going on there, which brought me to the zodiac sign as to the placement of the planets and the moon and the sun at the time. And it led me down this path to trying to understand the zodiac sign on the flat earth model, because it can't work around like this. If we imagine the ecliptic, the circle, because the sun is going around every day, isn't it, on the flat earth model? In reality, everything, they all go around together every day. So, you know, this will be nothing. But the sun, over the season, over the full year, goes down, you know, equilibrium, equinox goes down 3 months, up 3 months, and up 3 months, and, equilibrium down 3 months for the solstice, December solstice, back up to equinox, then slowly up to the northern solstice. In July then, June. And as it's doing that, it's turning like this every day. So it's over the year, it's doing the sine wave right around the 360, full 360. But you have to realise, science in their spinning ball model want you to think it's the background stars and everything that are moving, and the sun is not moving. But the sun is at the centre of the vortex, in the centre of Earth. Check out my other videos, I've got the whole design of the flat earth. The sun is there. It turns in this cosmic egg. The centre, the axis, centre of creation, centre of the universe is the centre of the black hole. The sun moves around that. Just like we know Polaris and Sigma Octantis do that slight rotation, because they are the sun. It's out that way for the south, up that way for Polaris rotation. The sun turns. The sun turning this way. So science thinks that the stars are going this way. Now think about it. It's turning that way, and they think it's stationary. They're going to think the stars are going to go the opposite direction. The sun moves ahead 20 minutes per year. So it's moving around. What's it doing exactly? It's well, it moves around 20 minutes a year, but it does correct itself somewhere along the line. So bear that in mind. It does not do. They all move together. Everything is moving together, but the sun is always a little bit quicker because it's in the middle. It's the centre of the energy. Everything out must gradually move slower. But from there to the outside, the main vortex stars, because they're spiralling up like this. It's a vortex. So that 20 minutes must have the stars moving up in the main vortex, because eventually they do go up and then come back down through the Milky Way, where they get burnt up down through the centre, the sun. It sits in the Milky Way. So that 20 minutes must be that extra little bit, the rotation and the vortex, the stars have actually moved up. But it's a bit deep understanding how everything's working. I've got that, I'll do another video on this, break it down a bit more. But it started here. I thought, well, something has to work in the middle of the system. Not out here, it has to be in here. So check out my other video, 1 and 2 before, and you'll find this is how it works. This is what the obelisk was all about. Always thought it was the obelisk. You place the obelisk in the centre here. And this is what we have. We have a fixed sign. This is how I've drawn it. I've got the corners at the equinoxes and the solstices. But we've got to relate this back to the Khufu pyramid. It's to do with that, it's connected. You got the kinks in the pyramid here, which makes it an 8-sided pyramid. So they will represent the fixed signs. Or you turn it and put the corners at the fixed signs, because the corners are fixed. And the equinoxes and the solstices, they can fluctuate. So that's the way I should have drawn it, I think. This is why we call it a fixed sign, because it's in the middle. You've got a fixed sign in the middle of the 3. I've drawn it halfway through the season, the month I mean, because that's how the zodiac signs change, basically in the centre, aren't they? So I've drawn it like that. So we have 3 within one face. So 4 faces, 3 4s are 12. There's your zodiac sign. So they'll drift a bit on these points here, but you'll always have one in the centre, the fixed one. That's the way it works. So I've drawn how the sun will move. It'll move up. It moves up 3 months. Then you turn onto another face of the obelisk. It'll come down. On the other face of the obelisk, it goes back up. But the centre is the fixed sign. So it works like this. There's fixed. It always stays in there. But here, as it comes in, will be a bit of variance. And up here as it turns. So it's basically, this represents like the snake and the staff. All those pictures we see in alchemy. It's all back in here. This representing the tree of life. Everything is winding up in the vortex in the centre of the earth. So there's one way of drawing it. There's another way of drawing it. Centre Taurus, Gemini, not fixed, not fixed. 4 sides, the 12 signs. And another way of drawing it was like this, and look what I came up with. Which brings us to the tetrahedron. So you look at the faces on here. It'll go up in the season, then it'll come around the corner and go down the season. Then it'll go up in the season, come back down in the season. See how I've drawn that? So we could say these corners are fixed. So we could turn that around. But I've drawn it that way. And that's basically the sine wave of Earth, isn't it? Up, down, up, down. Fixed signs, because as the season spirals up and down the central star, obelisk, the centre vertical sign is not affected. So then we go over here, we've got the 3 up, the 3 down, equinox, 3 up, 3 down. We've already mentioned the obelisk representing the Ben stone at the centre of creation in the previous videos. Square, look up the meanings of these words. Square centre means the tetragoniko in Greek. Tetrahedron, triangular, pyramid, all from square centre. Look, a square centre. Tetragrammation, or tetragram, is the 4-letter word. 4 letters again, 4 sides. Yahweh, the name of the national god of Israel. Isis, Ra, Elohim. center in Greek means prod or poker. We spoke about the pyramids representing a pointer. It's basically an antenna associated with the human brain, the pineal gland. What happens there? Check out the last video. Photos on my phone, I'll show you in a second. Pluto's dialogues. The meeting was held in the tetrahedron. This is all representing the centre here. It's the tetrahedron. The centre of creation. The tree of life is all in here. What have we got here? You look up square face in Hebrew meaning. And I get this Hebrew punctuation. A Hebrew period in a traditional serif face usually looks like a tiny tilted square. I'm playing around with tilting the square here and it comes up with this. But in brackets got a diamond. So then you come down to this diamond shape. This is also true for the dot part of the whatever. The tetrahedron, a record of God and creation. Dr. Jack L. Burton. King. Facet 1. King. The Gospel of Matthew reveals Christ Jesus as the fulfillment of the Old Testament scripture concerning. Blah, blah, blah. Got here. The tetragrammation, or tetragram from Greek, meaning consisting of 4 letters, is the 4-letter Hebrew word, which I've got written here. What did the tetrahedron and the cube represent? The 5 Platonic solids were thought to represent the 5 basic elements: earth, air, fire and water. So it's related to the Platonic solids. So there's your fixed signs. What we've got: fire, earth, air and water. And that's all connected to the 5 layers, the five planets in the firmament, gaseous layers, and you've got that de Jure pyramid, the 5 steps or 6 steps. It all represents the same sort of thing. The cube is associated with the earth and connecting energy to nature. The tetrahedron is associated with fire and perpetuates balance and stability. That's all I had on there. And there's the, in case you missed the last video, that's the picture. I went looking for it because I knew this was happening, and look what I found in my studies. See the snake, the winding, and written on the windings. That's basically how it's represented. The obelisk, the zodiac sign, as it spirals up, we see up the face, the seasons. 3 on this face, 3 on the next face, 3 on the next face. So, and this is the Egyptians have left us. I don't know if you can see that. It's the way the seasons go. The sun up, apogee, swings down, right down to December solstice, perigee. All there. These are actually, if you check these angles, you'll find they're 23.45 degrees. There's the, if you want to look up the, and it's all associated with the 4 rivers. If you heard about the 4 rivers, it all boils back to religion. All this ancient knowledge is all hidden from us, but you can go deep into the internet and you'll find it all. The duality is the spiritual and the physical. In the previous video I talked about the dual system of man becoming singular. And this is because we're 2-part. We're twins. We have a spiritual side and a physical side. Down here on earth is a physical side. Up here is the spiritual side. you have to bring them together to create singularity. That's associated with the previous video I just did on this. So that's basically it. So we have the 3 up in the season, then it comes 3 down, equinox, and then we go 3 down, right down to the solstice, December, and then back up again. That's how it works. You can't debunk any of this stuff. Everything links itself to something else in association with the flat earth model. Nothing on a spinning ball makes sense with anything else. It just doesn't correlate. It's all manufactured through science and equations. All hoo-ha. Now, this took me into some other information. Oh, the equinoxes, the variants and dates, and the time moving through the constellations. Was it once in Taurus and Aries? They say this took me right back into the internet, and you find all this ancient knowledge NASA has, and what they've taken from the tablets, the ancient tablets, deciphered it, and this paper I downloaded has got everything. It's got all the celestial bodies. It relates to the celestial navigation. How you've got the sphere, the arc, the southern arc, the northern arc, and we're inside this arc. They're symmetrical, and there's all these celestial bodies up here with GP points on the earth. How they got there, I don't know, but they've been there for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, since time was created. When you go back and read all the ancient books like Plato and stuff, he knows it all. People have just misunderstood it and haven't even read it properly. It's been in varsities for years and years, and they just interpret it all wrong. All the information is in there, and this stuff just goes way back, thousands of years. So you've got the ground points of all these celestial bodies. There's your grid for celestial navigation, and what all these stars called? Satellites. All these known stars that have the GP points on the ground were called satellites. NASA's taken this, because there's a grid system. When you've got all those plastered on the flat plane of Earth, you've got a grid, haven't you? Quite easy to fill in the grid with another a zone that you might be in, triangulated or whatever, just like we do on land with the cell towers. And they've taken it and created this GPS system and made it all secret that the military controls. But they don't come out and tell you the truth. Why don't they tell you the truth? Because it's the evil that runs the system. They take all the money that you pay in your tax dollars, they create stuff, keep it for themselves and all their buddies, create massive industries so they're all billionaires, Zionists, billionaires, all those guys at the top, Bozo, Facebook, all those guys. And then they'll sell it back to you for megabucks. So you're always paying. You pay for them to develop the stuff, and then you're paying for it to take it back, just like the medicine. They create a pandemic, and then you have to pay. Your government gives them all this money, because they're all in on it. All the governments are in on it. They'll give them all this money to pay for the vaccines, because they're all club members. We're just dumb sheep. We're not supposed to know anything. But I'll do a video on this paper I've downloaded all about the celestial navigation and the moving of the equinox. So what I've done is I can only find this 20-minute alteration each year. So I'll do a video on that explaining everything and all the movements, celestial movements. So think about this. If that sun's moving that little bit, and the whole system's moving the same way, but the sun is moving slightly quicker, it's going to make this appear this is going this way if they want the sun to be stationary. But it does not work like that. The sun moves. The whole system moves, and it's all projected. There's all the centre of creation, we do not see it. It's all a projection. It's like your brain, your mind. We imagine things, we can dream things. They seem real. You can lie in bed there, you think you're at the toilet. You go to the toilet, you realise you're peeing the bed. It's just like that. It's just so real. It comes from nothing. It's manufactured our whole realm. All in there. And it's all an amplification. We cannot get to a star, sun, moon, no. They will always move further away as you try to attempt to get closer. It's always that 5k away. It's always your arc of horizon. Rise up, you will see further. That doesn't just mean climb up a mountain, you'll see further. It's written in religious texts. It talks about it. But it says rise up and your arc will it gets bigger. Your horizon grows. So it sees further away. So we only see the sun and the moon set in your horizon. It's not thousands and thousands of miles away. It's just the way it works. The sun is in many places but only seen in one. It's not an object. Nothing up there is an object. NASA will have the next generation believing they created the universe. If the stupid generation now keeps believing them. I'll leave it at that. Gone way into the conspiracy side of things. Yeah, thanks for listening.